What is good, Gooners? Boys and girls, time to reflect a little bit about the tactical advantages that we saw and a little bit of a shift in balance to the Palace game and the Villa game. From the first 6 months, as I said, we know what the staple play is of Arteta's tactics. And he just hasn't been able to do that. He's been, more so because he was working with what he had produced with Pep Guardiola at Man City. But it seems now that while that has worked for him before, they won the FA Cup and had great success in that and used it to a much more effective detail on the back end of last season. This season, now he's got the players, he's having to come up with different tactics. And Arteta has moved kind of away from a Guardiola type of formation set to a more of a Brendan Rodgers, Jurgen Klopp type of set, where he's now sort of not being that type of team that is possessional on the ball, but more of a counter-attacking setup where you're drawing teams in and then you're able to switch the tempo with a flick of a switch and then dynamically take that on and press from the flanks. And that's why I compared the Tomiyasu and Tavares to the Mendy and Kyle Walker situation. Those kind of dynamics really, really turns and flips on its head what was seen previously before. And it takes a lot to do that. Look, let's set a standard tone in saying that you can only do what Liverpool and Man City can do if you have the technical prowess to do it. And Arsenal, in with all due respect, don't have the technical ability of those two teams. Not yet, anyway. So what they've been having to do to make up for that is to try and find the way how it works. And that is the reason why we're seeing these pigs and troughs, up and down performances from the team, because you're tinkering with ideas, putting into place certain attributes of the players to the philosophy and the formations and how you're going to work. And slowly but surely they'll get there. But there's going to be a little bit of these Palace games in the mix, and then there's going to be successes too. And as I've always said, it's about fans' expectation, whether you're pleased or whether you trust the program or whether you're upset, you think it's unwatchable. That is down to your perspective. What is happening is happening. Yeah, boats left the harbour, trains left the station. Don't matter what you can do, you ain't going to change anything. And enjoy the transition, which is what I'm doing. I'm just enjoying the transition. I like the fact that we're seeing different things and different players and different setups nearly every week or so, because where we have to build a new foundation. And I actually find that exciting. Obviously, I understand and I accept that some of you fans don't. But overall, for me, I like the way how the setup is working now. It's shown that the dynamic that we have with Aubameyang and Lacazette, and look, guys, it's never always worked, and we have never had that trio of Lacazette, Pepe, and Aubameyang working. It's never worked. Believe me, Unai Emery tried hard, and it didn't work. But I think we can reflect on some success as well when he had that Aubameyang and Lacazette combo. Look at the Valencia game in the Europa Cup, look at the Napoli game as well, and go back to the 1-1 draw at Liverpool at the Emirates on the 4-2 win against Spurs. Those were some of Emery's finest moments. The team was unbeaten in 22 games. But my point is, they were able to find a way how to use Aubameyang and Lacazette effectively. But using them effectively is one thing. Getting 90 minutes out of them is another. And I think from that perspective, regardless what your tactics and the formation is, regardless of who you're playing, it will always come down to the heart and the desire. If you're not willing to run yourself into the ground for the team, it don't matter what tactics you do or how you play, a team with heart and passion can overrun you. That's just the game. That's with any sport. And I think what we've seen with the Tottenham game, and especially the Villa game, what we've seen is something where, and I've said this before many times, I've said 40% of what you do is tactics and formation and everything. 60% of what you do is heart. And if you're not willing to bring that desire and passion onto the field, then it ain't going to work. Because regardless of how good you are, and this goes for Man City as well, these are the reasons why you see a Chelsea might lose, a Man City might lose, a Liverpool might lose, a Man United might get thumped 5-0. But sorry, did I just say that? Sorry. But this is the reason why you see those things. It's because sometimes, regardless what you know in your head, your body and your mindset might not be able to achieve that. One day you might wake up in the morning and think, yeah, I'm not really feeling that great today. And that will reflect on the pitch, in your body language, in the amount you run. These are the reasons why when I analysed the Arsenal versus Spurs game with the preview, which I did with Andy, I analysed the fact that Tottenham were the lowest in the league in terms of kilometres run. And Harry Kane, remember when I said in the first 5 games he had only 10 touches in the box? That's horrendous. Horrendous. To look at a reflection, Aubameyang alone had 15 touches in 1 game against Villa. Harry Kane had 10 touches in 5 games. So that's about getting involved and making yourself accountable and working hard. And that's what all those things are for. Obviously, what's happened with Spurs and all the changes we've seen now with their games and their results, and they're not always winning. But the change has come because they're just working harder. And that's one thing a manager knows he has to get out of his players. You've got to motivate your players. You've got to get the right system for them to work with. You've got to let them understand what the plan is. And that's why against Palace, as I said to you, we went in there with a plan, Patrick Vieira countered it, and we didn't know how to react. So all those things are learning curves. And that's why this season has been exciting, and that's why it's going to progressively get better rather than worse. Because from where Arsenal have come from, it's not that hard to improve. It isn't. Because when you have people in the midfield, you know, like Ernene, like Xhaka, like Ceballos, who don't really have that ability to impose what we're doing right now. And a lot of that is because they just don't offer you that level of protection for your back four. None of them do. Pressing and the support that they've got from the front line, as in Aubameyang and Lacazette and Smith Rowe and Saka, the pressing that they're getting is really helping. And it's that whole ecosystem of a team understanding what they need to do in order to win the ball back. And then once I said, the tactics is when you win the ball back to suck them in, is then just spring them on the tempo. And that's where Arsenal are finding a lot of success over the last few games. So I'm hoping that this thing continues to flourish. And I'm hoping that the fans are on board with it as well, because support is another thing. Against Villa, the fans were fantastic. And you're going to need a lot of that moving forward. But the players are feeding off of that. There was an instance towards the end of the first half when they were doing the VAR and the players were having to wait for the result. And obviously there was no football being played. Everybody was standing around on the pitch. And there was a moment of maybe a minute or so where nothing was going on. And the fans just ripped into chants. And things like that really empowers the players and infuses them and puts fire in their belly. And it's really working out well. I must say, you know, after 13 odd years of being a season ticket holder, this is the most lively I've heard the fans. And this is what I was hoping for. After the Chelsea game, where they were booing the players off the pitch, 5 of the players on the field were under the age of 21, by the way. And the fans didn't react at all. I didn't like that at all. And it's almost as if the fans went back, reflected, went home, came back with a new passion for what they were actually doing. Because one of the key aspects of losing those 3 games is you didn't have your leaders. You didn't have an Aubameyang and a Lacazette, you know, setting the tone. You didn't have those type of guys that are putting in performances that they're putting in now. So I think that it's really good to see that the veterans have taken up the mantle to where they are going to lead this team to success. And for all the youth policies that they're implementing now and everything like that, you can see that it does need that level of touch, that level of passion. And you're not always going to get that. Last year, it didn't work. And as I said, it didn't work when you looked at the Ceballos, the Xhaka, the Bellerin, when you looked at Willian, when you looked at all those players, what you were looking for from your core veteran players wasn't there. The performances wasn't there, the energy wasn't there, the passion wasn't there, the impact wasn't there. None of that was there. But look at what the players are actually doing now. So I think it's really important for us to take that and digest the performances that Aubameyang and Lacazette are doing, and they're leading by example. That's all from me, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace out.